Hello, it's 6 a.m. in here. Rise and shine, nice soothing breeze, beautiful inspirational weather. So, perfect time to talk about loneliness and depression, right? So, here's some context. Due to reasons undisclosable, I was in some horrible mental shape between, let's say, the peak low being between January to June of 2024. I had basically locked myself in my hostel room. Since I had an incredible CGPA back then, I had an exemption from the 75% attendance criteria, so of course, no incentive to go to classes. But on top of that, my professors that semester too were incredibly undereducated in this subject matter, confused, uninspiring, basically incredibly poor quality at educating, basically. So basically no incentive to go to classes. Now I could not acknowledge at the moment the severity of my situation. I was purely delusional. I was working real hard in the Indian football media scene, started an arc into data engineering, and learned a lot of big data, DevOps stuff before I could even make a proper full stack project. But I was productive in general, but once the realization set in that something is really messed up in my head is when I grew concerned. So, like a funny realization was that I haven't talked to a girl of my age in like 3 4 months. It's silly, but then I realized that it's not only girls. I haven't met anyone new in the last 3 4 months, and I have stopped talking to all current friends. Like all my friends from first year in college, they were strangers to me now. I had lost a lot of my physical weight, and that too brought a certain insecurity when it came to presenting myself in front of them due to the obvious comments, as if I haven't heard them already a million times before them. And so, and I'm still so guilty of this that basically cut myself off from such interesting people. Of course, in retrospect, my reasons undisclosable were pretty serious, and people do end up in far worse situations than I ended up while facing the same conditions. But I am pretty proud of picking myself up from that. But the point where I want to lead the premise of this video is the contrast during the time I essentially had no one to talk to where I am now, probably the greatest mental shape I have been since adulthood. And I'm in regular conversation with a decent number of a diverse set of people across ethnicity, gender, industry, and all. And I try to compare my takeaways at the end of the day from talking to people between now and the time I had no human connection, essentially. So, what differences do I observe in my mental gymnastics, thoughts, feelings, and actions? Of course, the quality of the people matter. They say that you become the average of the people you surround yourself with. I think that was said by some motivational speaker, probably Jim Rohn, if I'm not mistaken. So, this very particular statement, it has always led me to being very choosy about whom I talk to, essentially, and whom I choose to get vulnerable with. I find most people incredibly boring and emotionally unintelligent. I detest pretension and, of course, certain generic topics, like the people who are always blabbering about some stupid social media influencer or some other brain rot. My core group of friends, I'm doing my quotes with only one hand because I'm holding the phone with the other one. So that whatever, so what I mean by whatever that term friend means, my definition of friend is, let's say, someone who I can share and talk about the reasons I just mentioned, undisclosable, with regards to my dark period of sorts, with whom I have no filters. Like, my dark humor is pretty insane. It's really bad, actually. Like, it's proper, easily Twitter cancelable stuff. Of course, coming from the coping mechanisms from the dark period itself. So I'm naturally gravitated towards people who appreciate and, to a certain extent, exhibit similar levels of dark humor, who have at their peak lows too, and I do feel that overcoming such lows really changes you forever, hardens you, or prepares you for a lot of shit, essentially. And yeah, people who initiate conversation with me organically and lets you put in and Let's just put an asterisk mark on this one, initiating conversation organically, because that's the premise. But I want to say, now that I've defined such criteria, obviously the number is pretty finger countable, sub 10 basically. So if I compare the quality of conversations which I have these days with these people, sometimes it's really good. For example, the startup I joined recently, the founder and co-founder have such crazy lores and stories and experiences and learnings to share, and these two are genuinely intent at mentoring me, not only in terms of technology, but also its intersection with human psyche and philosophy. And talking to them is giving me the brain food to think of new ways to look at problems, new ways to ask questions, new ways to solve problems. And I'm quite sure that amount of knowledge that I will have by the end of the year, I'll, if I stick around with them, inshallah, it will be the real transformation with respect to my skill set and on a holistical perspective. But you know, when you get to know someone for the first time, you enter what I call a honeymoon period with them. The phase of getting to know each other, they update you with their life up to that point, and you update them with your life up to that point. Now, when that's over, now that's when you're past those generic, oh my god, us, relatable as fuck, bro, moments, and then you're honestly confused where to take this from now. Like, maybe there's some secret sauce, but I honestly haven't figured that out. Like, I have always sensed this reduction of hype and euphoria after a while with eventual friends, whatever, where like both parties after a while they don't seem as excited anymore. Like, I do wonder how much of a role pretension plays in this. Like, most likely like a subconscious pretension. Humans feel like they have championed something, satisfied their social bug, which, of course, is evolutionary coded into us from a species existential standpoint. But they have made, like, when they have made a new friend, like, but of course that dopamine hit of friend acquired is gone. Then when it's now time to pursue it and take it forward, that's where I think I struggle a lot, and it is a struggle hopefully many of you share. Like, it's quite common in romantic relationships from what I've seen and heard. Of course, never been in one. Applications open, but that after a while that honeymoon is over. Apparently, the fire dies down, and from what I've heard, boredom is ranked as the number one reason behind extramarital affairs. So, of course, my thoughts sound unique to me. It's pretty fucking common then. Also, I that's why I don't understand this concept of couples trying to prove loyalty to each other by completely cutting off interaction with the genders they can be possibly attracted to. Like, it does sound very counterintuitive, like completely against what I just said now, but like, see, like, so where was it? Like, why should I stop talking to females, particularly in the range of my age, if I am in a relationship? And of course, same applies the other way around too. But that I won't have no problems if my future girlfriend of sorts is chatting with a dude in her age range. Now, why have I suddenly gone woke at 6 a.m.? Because I feel that if someone has this mentality of potentially cheating, because that's where the paranoia comes from, right? Like, fear of losing a friend again, this time a very very close one. So if someone has this mentality of cheating, they will cheat irrespective of anything. And in my personal opinion, the faster we get aware of this mentality, if it exists, and the less painful the loss will be, right? Of course, you can snatch away your girlfriend or wife's phone, lock her in the house all the time, keep the key to yourself, but that's such a broken, lost trust relationship anyway, right? Like, it's better if it doesn't exist at this point, if there's like no understanding at all left. So sorry for the tangent, but yeah, back to where I was. Where was I? It's so tangential this video in itself. So when I try to think about these thoughts mean to me with respect to the friends I have in my life now, with whom I have crossed the honeymoon phase. There are certain systems we both have subconsciously agreed on, which may be unique to us, but also in the other methods can come from what we see around us. And what concerns me is whether those systems are constructive enough to develop and strengthen the friendship, or is it like an elaborate show of sorts, of a continuous continuance of the same shit getting repeated just for basic courtesy of one, not coming off as disrespectful, to stop conversation for long periods of time, and also from the evolutionary standpoint of feeling of sadness associated with losing a friend, the guilt that I was talking about, as I lost most of my college friends after I locked myself in. If there is someone I am genuinely interested in, it be it romantically or not, how do I ensure that I am creating systems that we essentially grow together intellectually, emotionally, and get out of a possible rut of a repeat of sloppy techniques just for formality's sake? One such shitty method to keep conversation, which I find, is sharing memes and short form content, which I'm obviously guilty of. So are my friends. Every day I will send one or two reels, sometimes thought provoking, but mostly brain rot. Same from the other side, and there are one liner reply, or more depressingly, just an emoji or two. So, and I have to blame social media and all this, and I don't feel good that after all these years, I'm finally agreeing with my parents that the reason behind all my doom is that bloody phone. And sadly I gotta agree that in certain ways, definitely. But hey, again, Twitter is the way I got discovered by my co-founder, and it's the reason why I nearly have a job now. So of course, social media exposes you to a larger audience, but again, getting hooked into that audience leads you away from your real life physical humans whom you touch and smell and see without a light emitting diode in between. And I have successfully converted some of my Twitter mutuals into my definition of a friend, but I am yet to meet them in real life. Hopefully, that's just a matter of time. So, such distractions are definitely giving us tools to, as I said, towards the courtesy type of friendship, just for the sake of continuing. But what else? Like, let's look at the non-social media addicted people. Like, how is my mom catching up with her friends? Well, they're meeting up in real life, traveling places, be it the local mall or once in a while a longer holiday of sorts. But that's fun. Together we're traveling to a new place, possibly inviting some friend of friend and becoming friends with them, getting to hear perspectives and stories, and essentially continuing this lateral dopamine satisfaction of making new friends. But does that come off as a substitution to not addressing the stagnant long-term relationships? Like, is going to new places together a constructive fashion of exploring new things together with someone I like, or is it just another distraction of like sending reels? Like, why is your Goa trip with friends more constructive than sending reels in the group chat of the same friends, right? So that's where I want to put the climax and the takeaway of this video, and what I think is the way to constructively progress a friendship. It comes from a very simple concept in computer science and software development: the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. If you're fetching APIs in JavaScript, you always prefer async over sync, and that's a common preference pattern across software development. But I want to flip the script in real life. Synchronous is desirable, asynchronous is not. When you're sending a reel in the group chat or to your friend, that's asynchronous. There's absolutely no expectation for immediate response. You send something, they see it later. The interaction is mediated through a screen and a piece of content created by someone else. That's passive. Meanwhile, at Goa, you're experiencing the same sun, the same food, being harassed by the taxi mafia in real time. And the interaction is direct and multi-sensory, right? Active, in sync. That feeling of shared reality, right? Like, that's what we co-created and is unrepeatable, and we are the content creators, and that's empowering. Versus laughing over someone else's content. That's probably shared stimulus instead of shared reality. Asynchronous passive relations look very performative, like very transactory and predestined in nature. But the friction, the sluggishness, the in between moments, the inherent uncertainty of sorts. Let's see where it takes us. That's engaging. But of course, synchronization activity take much more effort. Coordinating plans, especially in long distance relationships, take a fuck ton of effort. And maybe us struggling through those logistical challenges takes is the display of compatibility, of commitment, of how far we are able to go through certain inconveniences so as to keep interacting with each other. And that's why I try to frame strictly online relations in a comparatively poorer light in comparison to real life experiences. And sadly, exactly that's what's dying over time as we are becoming more dependent, addicted to social media, and having this and to not have these offline interactions. And if a bunch of friends are trying to fight those distractions to commit to offline plans, maybe that is one of the ways we are constructively progressing things. Having only asynchronous friendships is probably the same as cutting off yourselves with the world and stop to talk to anyone, while maybe having five asynchronous relationships is what keeps you sane, mosquitoes. So the next time you get together in a cafe, put the damn phone aside and talk face to face. If you're watching a movie, sit out some time after the movie to discuss what the movie made you feel and share perspectives. And try to play a new sport, go on a trip, reach out. Fucking hell. Offering help if the other one is near some important deadline. Become their hype person, encourage them to go all in with the idea they're tinkering with, and showing up and offering an ear when they're suffering through some shit is difficult, but obviously, if you're putting the higher effort, you're possibly getting the higher reward.